Hello YouTube and welcome to Let's Talk Horror, and today we are going to be talking about the upcoming reboot of John Carpenter's The Thing. Now some of you who don't know, this has kind of been rumored for a while about a Thing reboot. In fact, it was rumored, I think, last year or in 2018 was the first time, but John Carpenter's The Thing has been rumored to be getting a reboot for a while, and he essentially confirmed that Blumhouse is going forward with it last month at Fantasia, and he also confirmed that he will be involved, which is very, very exciting for all of us. You know, if you love John Carpenter's The Thing like I do, that's awesome. You know, that's really great that John Carpenter is going to be involved. You know, and if you guys don't know, John Carpenter's The Thing is my favorite horror movie, arguably. I just remember watching that for the first time, and you know, when I would tell people that I was watching it for the first time, people would come up to me, man, I wish I was in your shoes when you were watching it, because I would love to experience that movie for the first time again. And I get it, because it's such a great experience. It's a great experience all around. But man, especially that first time when you watch that movie, just it is outstanding. And it's not just the practical effects, folks. I mean, that's what everyone brings up. That's great, don't get me wrong. But it's everything else. It's the tension, it's the atmosphere, it's the snowy environment, it's the characters, it's the paranoia, it's the fear. You know, and just that concept of, you know, a creature that can, once it gets you, it can imitate you. That's just terrifying and incredible. And that movie is just so good, and Carpenter's direction in that movie is just so good. And I'm more than willing to see a reboot, although if it's like the 2011 reboot, I'm more than willing to pass. What really dragged that movie down was the CGI. It was that CGI that really dragged the movie down, and unfortunately the original directors of that movie wanted about 80 to 90% of the film and its effects to be practical, and then it turned out that the studio interfered, and it was, you know, a lot of the effects became CGI. But, you know, all in all, that movie, I think if it had a lot more practical effects like it was supposed to, it would have been a lot better, you know, and I think it would have been a lot more well received. And it had a fairly interesting idea of kind of telling the story of the Norwegians, even though it didn't really need to be told. But overall, it just kind of forgettable. I doubt I will ever pop that in to my Blu-ray player again. I did buy it. Maybe I'll give it another look, but just not very good. But anyway, on to The Thing reboot. So John Carpenter did confirm that he was involved with The Thing reboot, or will be. And that does get me thinking, is he thinking about being a director? And I think a lot of people, when they originally heard he was going to be involved, thought, okay, he's going to be like Halloween 2018, where it's just going to be a creative consultant type of thing. But John Carpenter has always said that he's willing to come back for at least one more movie. So I definitely think there could be something there with him coming back and maybe directing The Thing, because you know, he has said that The Thing is his personal favorite of all his works. And it's a lot of people's personal favorites as well. So I really would like to see John Carpenter come back, and I'd be very open-minded. I think he is a director that would fight for the use of practical effects. You know, I mean, some people might fear he would overuse CGI. I know he overused CGI in The Fog, which he actually came back to direct. But I don't know. I think if you want someone who's really going to put an emphasis and really knows that practical effects are the way to go, I think John Carpenter's the guy to do that for you. The main thing it has to do, I think, and what I would like to see out of this reboot, is I would like to see the movie be a little bit different than the others before it. The Thing 1951, which I checked out a couple of months ago, it's different, but it's essentially the same basic storyline, spoiler alert, for a 60, 70-year-old movie now, of just 4 or 5 guys in the snow. It's a crew of people in the snow in Antarctica, and I would just like it to be a little bit different. They did that in The Thing 1982 as well. The concept was vastly different. And I just think, yeah, again, they need to do a little bit different. And the idea that I think would be worth exploring in that area is maybe the idea of the Thing hitting civilized land, like hitting the U.S. or something, or hitting another country. We know from the movie, again, spoiler alert if you have not seen the 1982 Thing, honestly, what are you doing, But if the Thing hits land, according to the computer Blair uses in the film, the entire civilized world will be taken over within 27,000 hours, excuse me. And if you actually do the math on that, I think that's over 3 years, correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, just explore that, and maybe you can do it. And you got to find a way to still have tension in there and stuff like that. You still got to have that tension and that atmosphere and that paranoia and that fear, So I was thinking maybe they could have it hit a small town or something. Like maybe have a small town like another John Carpenter movie, Haddonfield, Illinois. A small town with a small population, maybe even one household. And they see it's this family and they see the other houses in their neighborhood, acting strangely or some things, and they're watching news reports and seeing this thing slowly infect the world, and the paranoia in that household and in that neighborhood, would be really something to explore. So it's essentially the original Thing, but on a bit of a bigger scale, and it's something different and it's something unique. I just think that would be really cool. I think that would be something different. I think that would be something that a lot of people would really, really enjoy. And of course, while it's unlikely, I would love to see John Carpenter come back for that movie because it is his magnum opus. And as this channel goes on, I want to talk more about John Carpenter because I'm a huge, huge, huge Carpenter fan with everything from Halloween to The Fog to They Live. But The Thing is great. I have friends who are not even really that into horror who love The Thing 1982. And watching it just 2 months ago, the big thing that I forgot to mention earlier was it seems every time I watch that movie, it's just, recognize something different and something that you didn't notice before in the movie that is just so unique and cool. The last time I watched the movie with my brother actually pointed out that you can't see Childs' breath at the end of the movie, even though they're in the cold, at the end of the movie. And I never noticed that. And that's another thing, the end of the movie is very important. That's why I don't necessarily want this to be a sequel, because the end of the movie is one of the best parts about John Carpenter's The Thing. And I'm just not really, sure a sequel will be able to uphold that. The great thing about the end of that movie, as a lot of people have said, is it's ambiguous. It lets the viewer decide for himself or herself what happened. That's just kind of the thing. Some people think McReady could be the Thing. Some people think Childs could be the Thing. Some people don't think there's a Thing at all, although I believe John Carpenter has finally confirmed after all these years. For a long time he wouldn't, but he finally confirmed that that one of the guys at the end of the movie is the Thing. So overall, that ending is very important, and that is one of the best endings I've seen in a horror movie, and they really, really need to maintain that. And that's why I don't want to see a sequel, or just do maybe a completely separate story. Again, I am very intrigued by The Thing on a larger scale, if you will. That paranoia, that fear, but it's not just a group of people in, Antarctica. It's a family or a neighborhood that is terrorized by that fear. I think that could be a darn good reboot, much better than the 2011 version. And that is something I would definitely tune in, especially if John Carpenter is behind or in the director's chair. So thank you, everyone. This has been the first video of Let's Watch Horror, and I'll see you next time. And comment below and let me know what you want me to talk about in the next video or future videos, because I'm excited to get this started. And I'll see you next time, YouTube.